Hey there, everybody. I am extremely excited to welcome you to the first ever deck tech for Magic 2015. This is, of course, a video where I'm going to outline a specific deck idea for you, what cards I have in the pile, as well as a couple of strategies on how to make it run fantastically. These are winning decks, the best builds in the idea. This one being Agro, black-red Agro, the best deck builds for that particular idea. And then, of course, we're going to run them all week long, kind of proof is in the pudding type stuff to show you the different concepts and stuff in action. If this is your first ever deck tech, then welcome. And if you're old hands at it, I know you've really been clamoring for the first 2015 one, so I'm really excited to just jump right in. This, of course, has been a completely different game than any other iteration. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to look at these decks. We used to look at all the cards that we were leaving out and give reasons for that. I think how I want to kick these off is by looking down here at some of our numbers. We've got 20 creatures, 24 other spells, 16 lands. You can see over at our curve, I think the most astonishing thing about this deck, other than the fact that it's 16 lands, is that we're curving out at 3, which is what allows it to have 16 lands. We've got 31 1-drops, 4 2-drops, and then 9 3-drops. I think that's well-rounded in my opinion, because all we really need to hit is 4 lands on the field, 5 lands maximum, and we can cast multiple cards in a turn and not have any worries at all. Of course, you know, these things over here, speed and strength and stuff like that, it's generally garbage, but speed being a 5-star is absolutely true. This is meant to bash your opponent as quickly as possible, get them done and out of the way, and not have to worry about them anymore. Color distribution, 20 black, 24 red. I do just want to reiterate, this is a deck building video teaching you how to build the decks. When you're counting up your color costs, paying attention to that is not as useful as actually counting the amount of black and red symbols in the pile. That's just going to tell you how many cards you have that cost, you know, black or red. Counting the symbols is going to allow you to realize what your dedicated cost is in your deck and give you a much more clear indication of what you should be doing with your lands. To break down the lands for you, we'll jump in here and say that it is an even split, actually very straightforward. 6, 6, and 4. Guild gates are almost a must in this game, and especially in this deck. Now, I don't love them because they come down slow, but if we bounce back down here, you can see that we only have 16, so we need those lands to be pulling double duty. It is a bit of a hitch in the giddy up because of the fact that we need to bash so quickly. We want our 1-drops on turn 1, and we want them out there quickly. But as you can see, we have the 31 1-drops, so generally we can get away with a Rakdos Guild Gate turn 1 or turn 2 and not mess us up too much. Where we're going to be a little bit sad is on turn 3 if all we have is a Rakdos Guild Gate and we have a 3-drop in hand. But even then, you're going to have a lot of pressure out on the board by then, hopefully, and you'll be able to kind of overcome those odds. You're going to have at least 3 creatures maybe out there that can help you out. Let's start off by going through the cards that we have in the pile. I kind of wish that they all separated by cost instead of by color, but, you know, we'll deal with what we have here. Tormented Hero is a late addition. Thanks very much to Dude of Death for the suggestion of putting this guy in. What I had in originally was Bloodghast. This guy's better than Bloodghast in just about every way. Of course, we only have the 16 land, so Ghast is not going to have that recursion that we really need. And this guy's going to be able to push through just a couple more points of damage. I have played with him and he has gone off, and 1 or 2 points can be the deciding factor. Also realize that we're not blocking a ton in this deck, so the life gain's definitely not going to hurt us under any circumstances. We only run 2 of these guys because those are the only slots that we had open. Obviously, I'd rather run a 1 of or a 3 of if allowed, and we could run 3 of these guys, but we just had 2 slots open after the Ghasts were gone, and I think this guy rounds out the pile quite nicely. Nice little 1-drop there. Quest for the Grave Lord gels perfectly with not only the Goblin Arsonist, we'll talk about in a minute, but fantastically with Krenko's Command. It is the perfect 1-drop for this deck. Like I said, we are low to the ground, quick creatures, we're trying to get them killed as quickly as possible, but if we drag on into the late game, then a 5 attacker is going to make a massive difference because he's obviously going to be blocked or removed, but that allows a couple of our 1/1s to get through there, and we're nickel and diming our opponent to death. Quest for the Gravelord is a must in this deck at 3. Ulcerate's another fantastic card, I think. Be mindful that you are going to be losing those 3 life, but the neg 3 is going to clear the field early game. We run 3 of them. It's kind of our full removal suite, to be honest with you. A lot of other things that we're going to be doing are kind of battles of attrition with our, fast 1/1s and all of that kind of stuff going off. But Ulcerate is going to be able to do targeted removal. We can kill 4/4s rather easily, 5/5s if we need to, if we're lucky. Ulcerate's pretty fantastic, and we can get the job done there with it. Furka's Chosen is going to be a 4 of. Now, this is a premium card. We'll talk a little bit about the premiums in a moment. I will be doing popper decks, though. I want to make sure everybody realizes that a lot of the decks that we're going to be doing up front here are going to have premium cards, but I'll kind of be going off and on or doing, I've been toying around with the idea of maybe Friday being a popper build of whatever we're working on, but we will have dedicated popper builds in case you guys didn't want to buy those premium unlocks, but we'll talk about that later on, of course. Furka's Chosen has Death Touch, and it is a 1/1 for 1. That kind of drives the deck a lot of times because the Death Touch is going to be able, maybe, I gotta stress this, to hold back and block sometimes, but 9 times out of 10 it's attacking it anyway. Deviant Glee is a fantastic card. We run 4 of them in the pile. As chance might have it, when I've played it, I haven't seen it a ton, but the gains trample until end of turn is not always effective considering how small a lot of my creatures are, but it definitely is not going to hurt us under any means. And of course it gives +2/+1, which is just a solid 1-drop. Being 2 for 1 in this pile isn't a huge deal for us. We don't have a lot of card draw. Of course we have the Rager, another premium card. But we have the Rager to kind of generate some of that card draw. That's very important for us to have that card in here. Being 2 for 1 is a problem for us, but hopefully we're overwhelming them so quickly that it's not an issue. A lot of the removal in this game comes later on, hopefully when our opponent's already dead. We just talked about him a little bit, but Phyrexian Rager is a huge driving force behind this deck because it's going to allow us to somewhat regrip, and we very badly need that. It is a 3-drop, so it's at the absolute utmost of our curb. Luckily, we just need him when we're topping off anyway because we want to grab another card. So we generally keep him in hand. He's just a 2/2, a little bit bigger than the rest of the guys we have. We do lose 1 life, but that's negligible. A lot of the wins you're going to be getting here are so fast that you will be in the 10-ish range. That's what you want to be doing here, is making sure that you can deal as much damage as possible as early on. One of the cards that is going to win you the game is Coordinated Assault. That is a 3 of in this pile. It is so important to keep this card in here. 1, because you can get 2 extra points of damage through on your opponent, and a lot of times that's going to be enough just to kill them. Or 2, you can remove their creatures and keep your threats out on the field. We are attacking in generally every turn, but we can't throw creatures away. It would be exceedingly foolish to just throw creatures away. Coordinated Assault allows us to attack in and save our creatures for later on. We need that creature damage on the field. This allows us to keep it going strong. 4 of Goblin Arsonist, because a lot of times this guy's going to be able to kill 2 creatures for you, or kill a creature, damage the guy's face. I don't feel like I need to extol the virtues of Goblin Arsonist. It has been a staple in most aggro decks for a very long time, and in a lot of the older iterations of this game, this guy is showing up. He is definitely a G. He is going down there and doing his job every day. The Hoplite also makes it in the deck. We've got a 4 of the Arsonist and a 4 of the Hoplite. This guy's going to get +1/+1 every time we target it, which is just ridiculous with the Coordinated Assault. It's awesome with the Deviant Glee. It's great with Lightning Talons that we'll talk about. It's great with Fervor of the Bitten. This guy gels very well. Remember that we do have a lot of other spells. We've got 24 other spells, and all of those are going to be combat tricks, or you can look at them as 2 for 1s, but they're going to be accentuating our combat potential. So we do have that in there. The Heroic's very nice. He's also just a 1-drop, which we need as many of as possible. Fervor of the Bitten, we run 4 of those. It makes our creatures attack every turn, but we're generally doing that anyway. It makes our creatures bigger threats, and it's going to be able to kind of make the Rabblemaster a bigger dude, less susceptible to removal. Rabblemaster is susceptible to every single form of removal in this game, except for the 4-power white. But pretty much everything, I mean, Shock, every color has something that can deal with this guy just about rather quickly. Also, the first strike, even if you want to mess with white, you can even talk about the first striker being able to kill this thing if you really wanted to get sketchy with your terms of removal. Obviously, a creature's not removal, but they have ways to deal with this guy. We definitely need something to juice him every once in a while because he's attacking in pretty much every turn regardless. Fervor of the Bitten's a good way to do that. It's also a good way to juice the 1 of 4 Krinko's commands that we have in here. That's 8 tokens, and we really need that pressure early game. Like I said, we need as many creatures as possible. Krinko's command is definitely going to fit that bill. Rabble Master, we run 2 of. This is a strong guy. He eats removal 9 times out of 10 because they don't feel the need to remove our 1/1s. That's their mistake, and that's also where we're going to get away with a lot of our damage. They will not kill our early game threats, which are our only game threats, but you and I are the only ones who know that. Rabble Master is a good way to just get down there and generate some value. Even if they kill him, you probably got a token out of the deal regardless. Not the best use of your 3 mana, but certainly not the worst. And then, of course, we also have Lightning Talons, which is +3/+0 and gives first strike. General strategies for this pile, like I've been extolling the virtues of all along, is going to be throwing caution to the wind, attacking as much as possible, getting your Quest of Grave Lord on, and just really working your opponent's early game before they can do anything to harm you. Problems to that strategy, of course, are going to be Cantrip Wall, which would be your 0/4 wall in white, and other various 2-drops and things like that. The ramp decks seem to use a lot of 1/1s, which dull the blunt of our attack and serve to ramp them further, and that is a problem for us. Luckily, we have the Ulcerate in hand, and we have these kind of cards as well to extend our damage and extend our reach into the mid game. If you get to late game in this deck, your really only chance is to get some of the quests out there or some of those zombies out there and hopefully have a Deviant Glee open or something like a Lightning Talons or Fervor of the Bitten. If you just have a 5/5 out there late game, chances are you are in terrible shape. Late game is a very dicey place. You can dig out late game with this deck, but generally you want to put everything on the table before 6 mana. Don't forget that the only board wipe in the game comes at 6 mana, 3 dedicated white sources. Keep your eye on that, and once your opponent hits that, maybe hold a couple of guys back for afterwards. Because remember that they are, a great example is the Rabble Master. If they have 6 mana and 3 open, they're probably going to tap down everything to wipe the field. Rabble Master will allow you to at least attack for a 1/1, attack with a 1/1 because it has haste. So maybe hold on to that. As long as you keep an eye on your opponent's mana and really make a point not to keep an eye on your own life total or kind of the cards you have in hand, how many cards you have in hand, you will be able to overpower your opponent generally before they can get the steam that they need to kill you. Chosen goes a long way to killing those 0/4 walls, as well as Ulcerate. The 3 damage is a kind of a big deal, but remember that 9 times out of 10, if we're within 5 life, we're already losing anyway. Like, this deck should win between 10 to 13, 16 life, and anywhere in there, you should be winning around that point. Don't worry about blocking too much unless they throw down a threat that you really can't deal with, and then of course your Chosen is going to be the choice of blocker there because it's going to do away with that pretty much instantaneously. Coordinated, there are a few things that can get around the Death Touch, of course. Coordinated Assault is going to be your go-to as well for removal, and it has the added bonus of, being on the attack. You don't want to be blocking too much with this deck. Well, you guys, that's kind of the new way that I'm going to do deck techs. I hope you enjoyed it. I do want to give a shout out to my beloved subscriber, Preet. I hope I said your name correctly. I actually asked a friend of mine who would definitely know, but he could be screwing with me. He was nice enough to donate to the show. And don't forget that if you guys have donated to the Patreon account, please get at me with your deck ideas. The Patreon account's an amazing way to give me deck ideas that I have to do or challenges. One of the things I'm really excited about is doing the Pick My Poison campaign, which we already have somebody who has pledged that tier, where you get to give me impossibly difficult deck restrictions. This deck actually that we just looked at came from one such restriction I placed on myself, and then I fleshed it out to make it better for you guys, but it was make a only 1-drop deck. definitely red and black was the color to go with there, and I saw what I could do with it, and that's what gave us this Rakdos rush. If you want to get involved in that kind of awesome stuff, please check out the Patreon account. A link is down below. And I want to say thank you specifically to, his name is, I call him Lucaster, but Lucas down in the comments, a friend of his, I'm sure you've noticed it, gave us brand new channel art. It is absolutely stellar. A link to his friend's graphic design page is down in the comments as well. I implore you, if you have any graphic design needs or you just want to look at some awesome art, to click that link, because this individual is fantastic. Our channel art is testament to that. I think that's everything I wanted to say for today. I certainly hope that it was. If you enjoyed the way that we did the deck tech today, please let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know how you would handle it differently. Obviously, this is much different than what we were doing last year and the year before. We've been at this a long time. But this is a brand new frontier for us. We didn't really get to talk about cards that we left out, so if you want to know about a specific pick that I made or a card that you would put in, say that down in the comments as well, and we'll have a discussion down there. Thanks again for watching, you guys. You know I really appreciate it. Thanks again, Preet, for bringing you this awesome episode. And thanks one more time to that graphic artist, and thank you for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow when we start proving that this deck is the tank of gas that I've led you to believe.